thanks for joining me, everybody. Today we have a special guest with us. We have Bob Lennon from Thermalwood, Canada, and we're going to talk all about thermally modified wood. It's a product you may or may have not heard about yet, but Bob's here to tell us all about it. So I'm really excited to have Bob here. Thermalwood actually joined the Rise platform not too long ago. So I'll let Bob introduce himself, and then we'll dive into some questions. I'm really curious to know more about this new product. You guys might have some springtime projects coming around the corner, and you might want to take advantage of this type of product. So Bob, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on this this video, and at the same time, whatever we can do to be able to help. And you're doing a great job with the platform and helping me get set up. So again, thank you very much to you and your team for making it pretty seamless. So appreciate that. Process of thermal modification. We're located in New Brunswick, in northern New Brunswick, in Bathurst. We've been in operation since 2008. That technology is actually a known technology from Europe that has been in effect since the early 1990s, late 80s. So it's not something that's completely new to the world. It is fairly new to North America, and so most operators started around 2006, 2007, 2008. So our experience now, we've had about 12 years experience. The other interesting part is that if you look up any information about thermally modified wood coming out of Europe, a lot of the focus has been on softwoods because it comes from the Nordic countries and our Scandinavian countries, I should say, that are predominantly softwoods like spruce and pines. And so when we got the oven, each species is different when you're putting it in and basically cooking it or roasting it or baking it or thermally modifying it or torrefying it. There's like 6 or 7 different names, but it's all the same. Any information that we received from them was all in softwoods. But for one reason or another, we really got into hardwoods. So we built an expertise over the last 12 years on the process in hardwoods.
Very, very cool. So Can you tell me a little bit about the different species that you guys specifically deal with, and then maybe what type of applications people are actually using this wood for?
Okay. Just for instance, we have each species has its own recipe, and we probably have about 200 recipes because I've had requests to do species from Africa, from South America, from all over the place in different applications. Okay, and we're talking more residential today, but we do stuff for the music industry, guitar necks, guitar bodies, fingerboards, those kind of things. We also get involved and I've had requests to do stuff for golf clubs. So we're all over the map in what we've tried. But on the residential side, the biggest uses of this is there's interior and exterior applications. So the wood is used in flooring, it's used in wall paneling, it's used in decking, it's used in siding, can be used for ceilings if you want to, accent walls, paneling. So there's a number of different things. We even we supply a couple of big door manufacturers for this product to build exterior doors and interior doors. We've worked with a couple of companies that are using the wood for the framework for windows. So there's a number of anything where there's wood in a residential application, we can actually apply the wood products to it.
Okay, and what typically are the advantages of using this type of wood? Let's say we take decking as an example, or maybe siding. Why would you choose thermally modified wood over other materials, maybe like a pressure treated wood or maybe a natural wood, and also like do you have to treat it?
Okay, so to answer your question, I'm going to start off with probably the most important. And if you're really worried about our ecosystem and you want to stay green, this is a completely green process. We transform all our products for whatever process, for whatever finished product it's going to be. We only use heat and steam in the transformation. So that's the first thing. Other products that are out there that are using plastics that can't be recycled, and pressure treated lumber has its place, but they're infusing chemical products into the wood. So in our case, we are only using heat and steam for it. So that's kind of the environmental side and the carbon footprint if you want to. The second part is that in the transformation, what happens is that we actually densify the wood. And through that process of densification, what we're doing is and I'm going to use a term here and then I'll turn it off into a scientific, hydrophobic. So the wood, after we're done with it, does not take any moisture from the air. Like if it's very, very humid outside, let's say it's 75% or 85% relative humidity, you and I be walking outside and we go, oh, on a hot day in the summertime, you're going, yeah, it's hot, but my God, it's the dampness that I can't handle today. And it's the same thing in the wintertime. It can be really cold and it'll be 6 degrees, but if it's damp out there, that's 6 degrees, it feels like you're about 20, right? So it's that humidity in the air that does not get soaked up into the wood. So it's very, very stable. And so you don't get the expansion that you would get with a regular piece of wood. If you take a regular piece of hardwood, you put it outside without putting anything to protect it, it's going to swell, it's going to cup, it's going to twist, it's going to crack. So there's still some minimal swelling with thermally modified wood, and it's wood, so you'll get some surface checking and stuff, but nothing compared to if it was non-treated. So very, very stable. So that's the second part of it. The third element in there is that we remove, because we go up to temperatures of 200 degrees Celsius in our oven. And so what that does, it removes all the organic properties within the wood and anything that's in there that the sap and the resins that are there, and it changes the molecular structure of the wood. And the sugars and stuff that are in the wood are what cause insects and rot to exist on there. So that's gone. Insects don't like the wood, and now you're a lot more resistant to rot and decay than you were before. We actually give warranties for decay. On the decking, for instance, we got it up to 25 years, and on siding, wood siding, it's 60 years without any decay.
Wow.
And the final element through there that's worthwhile talking about is that aesthetically, the wood goes from a white yellowish color to now a brown rich color, and it can, depending on the species, it can be a dark chocolate or a milk chocolate. And so that's looking at it, and what it does when it gets into those colors, it actually pulls the grain of the wood out. So if you use an ash, for instance, the ash grain will really, really, really show up in the wood. If you're using a bird's eye maple or a curly maple or a curly birch, that you have a hard time to see the grain unless that you sand it off really good and put a varnish on it that pulls it out. This, you see it automatically. Like people walk in and look at the pieces of wood and say, wow, we've never seen this kind of wood before when it grows in our backyard. So those are kind of the four big elements that you can get through there. Cool. And one more, if I may. Yeah. It's because it's densified, it gives a lot higher R value also. So as an insulating properties, if you put it on your siding on the house, now you've added on to that, which in the long run will help you out because you add your R value for insulation and the wood that's there and everything else. You got a lot warmer room, less energy to be able to heat it up.
Very nice. So I'm curious myself. I am actually embarking on a decking project for my personal home this summer. And so I'm very curious that I think the question that a lot of homeowners will have is, this all sounds amazing. How does the price compare to other materials out there?
Well, the other materials out there, and again, it depends. We're not comparing this for pressure treated lumber. We're in a completely different market. And this where we're at, we're more in the range of the high-end composites, because again, there's a wide range of composite material. We're in the higher end composites and more of the exotic types of wood. And so those are some of the comparisons. So you can't go and compare to pressure treated lumber because we're about 2.5% more than that.
Okay.
So what I tell people is that use the pressure treated lumber for your structure.
Yeah.
And then cover up all that ugly wood with thermally modified.
Gotcha. yeah. That's usually how it goes, right?
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. Okay. Maybe one last question. How can a homeowner talk to their contractor about using thermally modified wood? Any suggestions there?
Well, the one of the big things is that because again, it's been 12, 14 years in North America, a lot of people still don't know about thermally modified wood. So what I would suggest is that there are some contractors that know, but there's a lot more that don't know than know. It's not really a home name now or a big brand or out there. So people still are a bit leery about it. They haven't worked with it. They haven't done stuff. But any contractor that is open to be able to work with it, if they suggest to the contractor that this is something they'd like to find out a little bit more about, just get the contractors to call me, and I'd be glad to explain to them what it is, how the workability of it is, and then give them samples so they can try out and see what's there. I haven't had one contractor come back and say, well, this is terrible stuff to work with. It's actually easier to work with than regular wood because you can cut at any angle on this, and it's just like a clear cut as if you were cutting with the grain.
Oh, nice. Very nice. I would assume with the density of the wood, it changes everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Well, that's all the time we have. Bob, thank you so much for joining us. You've been fantastic. Again, if you guys have any questions on thermally modified wood and thermal wood in particular, they are on the Rise platform, so you can check them out at buildwithrise.com. Bob, what are some of the other ways that folks can get a hold of you?
They can check out our website at www.thermalwoodcanada.com and get directly to us. They can give us a call, 506-548-9126, or even go on Facebook and check us out on Facebook. We do have a Facebook page. We put out in posts every Friday, and they can contact us that way or on Instagram. There's a number of ways to find us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bob. You've been a fantastic guest, and thanks everyone for tuning in this week. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. For more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button below, and also check out buildwithrise.com, the only place to turn any home improvement project into a sustainable one.